Hey everybody, it's me, Jennifer DeRozier, your favorite realtor here at Rose Tree Realty. And I thought it's been a little while since I have talked with you guys and shared some of my insights into our crazy market. So as we're wrapping up August, and I have already shared my market updates. Yes, it's a seller's market, but rates are so low that buyers are they are making out hand over fist when it comes to being able to purchase more for their money. So a lot of my buyers are noticing that home prices are a little bit higher than they expected, but they are also noticing that their monthly payments are lower for the purchase price, and that is because of how low our interest rates are. I just got someone pre-approved yesterday with an estimated rate of under 3%, which is incredible. So when you think about that, my buyers out there, even though it's a seller's market, even though there's not a ton of inventory, so there have been multiple offer situations and kind of bidding wars and things again, and prices are getting a little bit higher because of scarcity. Don't necessarily be afraid or count yourself out, because I am finding that even though home prices are higher, rates are so much lower that there is still an affordability that we haven't seen in some time. So, but that's not what I'm here to talk with you about today. I've been reviewing with my sellers and trying to figure out why it is that I'm able to get listings sold at a time when particularly higher end listings are sitting longer, and when fast listings go even faster. What is it that draws buyers in on some houses and not others, right? Especially when there are so many very similar floor plans and aged homes here in Southwest Florida. My sellers need to know how to make their homes stand out so that they can get it on and off the market lightning fast. And so I want to share with you classic traditional home selling tips that every homeowner thinks they know that just don't work anymore. So here are my tips to ignore. Number one, so many homeowners do this down here. They say they really want to sell their home, they want to take advantage of the hot market, but they're going to wait until season. If you don't know, season in Southwest Florida is typically late fall through mid-spring. So I usually think of it as after Halloween until right about Easter. And it's not true. And it's so hard to convince a seller that it is a good idea to list whenever you get the itch, because the fact is that number one, traditional seasonal selling highs and lows, we really haven't seen that reflected in our market over the last few years. In fact, year for year, I continue to have my busiest time in the summer when it's largely local residents making those moves while kids are out of school and things like that. But even nowadays, our tourists, they don't just come during that time of year. A lot of people are coming at all times, or, off and on, splitting their time. So that's just not true anymore. In other parts of the country, people think that spring is the best time to list, and that's not true there either. But I'm not an expert in other parts of the country, but I can tell you in Southwest Florida, you list when you feel like you need to list, and if you have the right agent, they're going to get that home sold for you. Period. End of story. Number two, a lot of sellers think or are afraid not to entertain the very first offer they get. They always think the first offer is the best. So I've got kind of dueling opinions on this. Don't be afraid to negotiate. Don't feel like whatever offer you get sets the value of your home. But I also have to caution people against ignoring offers. I do believe that the days of throwing out lowball offers to see what sticks really are gone. I feel like home sellers are pricing a little bit more realistically. So when you see a home that's listed at a certain amount, you need to expect that that home seller has done their research, and likely that home is priced pretty much within, a $5,000 to $10,000 ballpark of what it should be. Having said that, of course, do your due diligence. Any good buyer's agent is going to check the comps before helping you submit an offer. And if they're not, shame on them, because you have to protect your buyers. But even if you do get that low ball offer as a seller, don't just ignore it. Don't let it die, because every offer is the beginning of a conversation. You're never going to get your home sold if you think you're too good to even open a dialogue, even if you counter back at original list price. Don't ignore any offer, because 9 times out of 10, if you're working with the right negotiator and that person knows how to close a deal, they can take a crappy offer and negotiate it up to where you all need to be, or at least get you at the same table. So every offer matters for sure. Don't just take them for granted. Another piece of advice that I think is outdated, when you're having a listing appointment and someone pitches hard to host open houses, open houses, they're a great tool. They're a tool that I use in my marketing toolbox, but they're not going to sell your house. The fact is, according to the National Association of Realtors, only 2% of homes are sold as a direct result of an open house. So do they always gear toward finding your buyer? No. However, I love using them, and I'll tell you why. I have noticed that the scheduled private showing appointments for my listings tick up exponentially during and after a period of time where I've been marketing for an open house, particularly if the home has been on the market for more than 2 weeks. And the reason for that is having it listed on the MLS, which then syndicates to Zillow, Trulia, Homes.com, Realtor.com, all of those sites that then also sub-syndicate. So they end up getting spread out nationally and even internationally, on top of any paid social media marketing, which all listing agents should be doing. That puts your listing back at the top of the heap. So even though it's lost that prestige of being a brand new listing, every time you open up the door to a new phase of marketing, it's going to get that attention again. So they're not just used as marketing tools to find new buyers by your listing agent. Don't be jaded, but it's a smart thing to do to find ways to make your listing look fresh. And that's why I use open houses. But is it going to find your buyer? Probably not. But it is a way to shine a light on your property and make sure it stays at the top of the pile. So be smart about your open houses. Don't break your neck, but if your showings haven't really been working out, it's a great tool for sure. This next tip is right in line with the offer conversation we just had. Do not price your home above where you should, expecting to have to negotiate. Consumers are more educated now than they used to be, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Anyone who's ever looked on Zillow knows that they give you an estimate, a zestimate of what that home is worth. Is that estimate correct? Almost never. Almost never. Find me a real estate professional that appreciates Zillow, and I will call them a liar, because it's not true. None of us do, because it's misinformation. But let me get off my soapbox. The fact is, it is helpful, because even though it's not always the most accurate valuation of your home, it's at least going to give you a ballpark. So what is my point? My point is, buyers pay attention to those things. And it's pretty easy when you see that estimate and then you actually pull sold comps that are true comparables of the home within that 2-mile radius. It's pretty easy to show them, okay, that's what Zillow says, but here's what an appraiser is going to look at, and here's where you meet in the middle, and that's how buyers make their offers. So if you're priced way up here and every house in your neighborhood actually sold for here, your buyers almost guaranteed aren't even going to bother with your house. They're just going to go see another house that's available who have sellers that are pricing more realistically. So don't waste your time. Another thing to think about on that note is buyers cap their searches usually in the 5s or 10s. And so if someone is pre-qualified to 250,000, they're only going to search up to maybe 255 or maybe 260. So if you want to price your home at 260, but you decide I'm going to start off at 275 and see what happens, the buyers that are actually going to buy your house can't even see that listing until you're priced realistically. So just think about that. People are more educated, they have more access to information than the old days, and they're going to appreciate a home that's priced where it's worth. And 9 times out of 10, homes that are not overpriced and are priced realistically are the homes that sell first thing. And lastly, do not over improve. If you know you want to sell your home and the only reason that you're trying to update is to get more money, don't forget, if you are going to do a renovation, you're typically only going to recover at best like 80% of what you put into the home. And the fact is, every buyer has their own style. So you might spend all that money renovating a kitchen and then your buyer tears it out and does it in their own way. So if your home is dated and it does super need renovations, a smarter move is going to be to list the home and then offer a buyer credit at closing to allow them to renovate to their own style and taste. There's lots of creative ways to save you money, time, and effort and get your home on the market now while there are so many approvable buyers hunting for a home like yours. So those are my tips for my sellers out there. I know it's a longer video, but hopefully it's helpful and it's good food for thought. If you have any questions about how to list your home successfully in the age of virtual showings and social media connections, I'm your gal. I would love to help any way that I can. And you can always find me at rosetreerealty.com or give me a call. And I'll hope to see you guys soon. Stay well. Bye, everyone.